Hi, everybody. Jack O'Malley with today's update. It's a Wednesday. A lot's happened in the last few days, and I had some ideas and some thoughts to talk about. But then I had a phone call, conversation with a gentleman in my district today that really changed how I wanted to approach today, I think. Just so you know, the court case in the appellate court was heard yesterday. Both the governor and legislative lawyers made their pitch, and there was some good questioning, as I understand it, from the appellate judges. So they've got the case, and we'll see what happens. But regardless of who wins and who loses, the losing side's going to appeal it to the Supreme Court. So looks like right now that case is probably set for September 2nd in the Supreme Court, but the appellate court yet to decide. But that was yesterday. What else is here? I just wanted to touch on. Again, there's all kinds of numbers about age groups and this and that, but the big number, in my opinion, is not that we've seen an increase in some cases. Nothing like back in March and April, right? We've seen, but again, hospitalizations, ventilators, deaths are down. That's important. The governor today declared that racism is a public health crisis. All of this stuff we could be talking about, but something I heard today from somebody who is in the system, who knows these things, was telling me about the increase in suicides that have been taking place in my district, and I'm assuming elsewhere in the state of Michigan. So in many ways, all this other stuff we can talk about and we can argue, and yes, we've got to win in the Supreme Court because all these EOs go away. We get a co-equal branch of government back and discussion. As I understand that the appellate court judges even talked about that a little bit. Wait a minute here, co-equal branch. So suicide, that's a public health crisis. And it's avoidable. It is. Talking with this person, I got a call from a friend who is a business owner whose business is tanking. Said, here, take my gun. I don't want it around. Heard of another gentleman whose business is tanking, and I don't want to give too many details because it's privacy. He's got this astronomical property tax bill coming. Governor vetoed legislation that would have given him a grace period. Heard of a funeral, multiple funerals, but one in particular, that was postponed because of the new reimposed indoor 10-person. So now an indoor funeral, right, can't have more than 10 people. This would have been the second time that funeral was postponed. The family is distraught. Point is, we can squawk and moan about what's going on, and I hate it. I truly understand the people that are afraid of COVID. I will say I don't think it's a death sentence. Certain age groups, you bet. We've got to be careful. But what's really being overlooked in this is the governor is focused on enforcing these EOs. I guess if the governor were to actually listen to me and answer a question, one of my questions is, Governor, what's an acceptable compliance rate? Or why do you have to turn these agencies into a club? Why are you pushing business to the brink? We need balance. Right now, it's like this. How about this? So, Madam Governor, I understand you've got your concerns about the COVID patients. We all do. But I've got people in my district who are committing suicides at numbers that people in the district haven't seen before. Remember, this is the time of year people are supposed to be outside, sunshine, things are easier. No. I've got business people who are in, I won't, maybe not dark places, but dim places right now because their dreams are shattered or about to be shattered. Madam Governor, people, show compassion to these people. If you're a person right now, and this is kind of what I wanted to get to, if you're a person right now who, because of this COVID situation, or any reason, but especially if you're in the COVID, and you are thinking about doing something to yourself, please make a phone call, reach out. I've got you can Google this number, that's what I did. The National Suicide Prevention Line is 800-273-8255, 800-273-8255. You can Google it. Please do. If you're in that spot, don't think about it. I mean, when I heard that this gentleman called this, acquaintance of mine and said, "Here, take my gun. I don't want it around." What does that tell you? And if you're a person who has a friend or a family member who, for whatever reason, because of COVID here, and their business is failing, or whatever the reason, but all these orders, if they're in that dim place, don't tell them to snap out of it. Because when you're in depression, when you're in that anxiety spot, you're stuck. You wouldn't tell a cancer patient, heal yourself, So I know that, toughen up, you'll get through it. I want them to get through it, but sometimes we need help. I'm even sorry I have to be having this conversation. But when I had that discussion today about suicide, it was like, you know what? Yes, we can bitch and moan about everything that's going on, and we have a rightful reason to do it. But ladies and gentlemen, when we're talking about COVID and deaths, there are people who are suffering from COVID who have never had the virus. And that is ultimately the point I've been preaching about for months. We have no balance. Madam Governor, stop and think about the broader horizon. There's 10 million people in this state. All right? I won't get political. But if you're a person right now who is in I don't want to say dark, but dim place, 800-273-8255. Call somebody. Google the number. Depending where you live in the state, another number might pop up. That's okay. Call it. All right? You need to talk to somebody. If you know somebody who's in that dark place, give them the number. You don't have to say much more. Say, hey, call somebody, talk to somebody. And please remember, don't tell them snap out of it. Don't tell them, you'll get over it. Don't worry. Like I say, you wouldn't tell somebody with a broken leg, just get up and walk. It wouldn't work. All right? I know you mean well. Toughen up. You'll be okay. Not if you're there. So I want you to think about that too, folks, if you haven't thought about that. For every action, there is an equal reaction, right? And when the governor shuts things down, takes an EO and then just bumps it back for public safety and health, well, maybe that idea, it has consequences in other places. So, there'll be another day to moan about what the governor is doing. But tonight, I really want to say, if you're struggling, call for help, ask for help. If you know somebody who is struggling, be supportive. Don't tell them to buck up, all right? It's real. All right, I'm out of here. let's pray for each other. Let's be nice to each other, right? Control yourself. You can control you. You can't control the other guy. So we say we're in this together. Let's be in this together. Talk to you Friday.